hopefully we can beat the rain. So here's the new setup in the GMC. Got my 15-inch Sundown Audio SA-15 Classic. So I think that's a 750,000 RMS rated subwoofer. And then I have this prefabbed NVX box. And I did have to reinforce this box a little bit. It did blow apart. So there's some external screws I put into the box to kind of clamp it a little bit tighter. And it's so far, it's held up great because it used to rattle a little bit. So the amps I'm running for this system, I have my down for sound, I think it's right here, JP234, so that's a 4-channel amplifier. And then here's my CT Sound 1000.1D, so this is my 1000 RMS monoblock amplifier. So here's my settings on my amps. This is the custom little amp rack we made, MDF, and then it has a little cutout so the seat can go all the way back. And then this, you can just tilt the seat back a little bit, so a little bit more comfort for the passenger rider of the vehicle. And then for a head unit, I have this Pioneer that my dad kind of had laying around, so we kind of slapped that in. And here's the CT Sound bass knob. And then for the speakers, 6.5 in the front, 6.5 in the back. So basically, in the front, I have 6.5 Sundown Neo Pro V4s. And then for the back speakers, I have NVX 6.5 coaxial speakers. And then I actually put some JL, I think they're 100 CT 1-inch diameter tweeters behind the factory Bose trim plate for the A-pillar. And then let me pop the hood real fast. So right now it's factory battery with no, I do not have a big 3 on it. So I'm running a 150 amp fuse off the battery going into the cabin of the truck to power the amps. And how we went through wiring up the amps, the main power cable going to the amps is actually, we drilled through the bottom of this battery tray plate and we put a grommet. And then we also drilled into the firewall of the truck and we put another grommet. So it's all concealed and it's not just dangling or just gonna cut on the firewall where you drilled. So I have the carpet installed right now, but basically there's a little cut in there. The wire comes down this channel right here through this door sill, back and around underneath the amps, as you can see right there. And then I have a distribution block, which distributes the power to the amps that are required. So I believe this one is a 2000 watt amp with 4 channels at 4 ohms. So it's like roughly 300 something watts per channel. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Yeah, and then here's the ground wire. I have my RCAs. And that's it. I do want to add one more thing. I did tune just the subwoofer with an oscilloscope. So an oscilloscope, you would just hook up these 2 wires to your oscilloscope, and basically the oscilloscope is just a sine wave that goes up and down, and you tune it off the amp. And so you would basically turn the truck on, turn your volume at roughly 75% of the maximum capacity of the head unit. Then you come here, attach your cables to your oscilloscope, and then you would tune this gain on your amp to where it's a clean sine wave and it's not being clipped like at the top peaks of the sine wave. So I did tune the subwoofers. The speakers have been basically turned all the way down in terms of gain. and they're still extremely loud. So this is one last thing I wanted to add before I move on to the next part of the video. Try to do a quick demo. Front speakers, they're going to be a 6.5 Sundown Audio Neo Pro 6.5 V4. So that is a 4 ohm speaker. Has a nice carbon fiber cone, and it has push pin disconnects for the wires. And here's the specs for the speaker. So on the back door, I'm running a 6.5 NVX coaxial speaker with your little tweeter in the middle, and then your woofer. It's like a carbon fiber cone. And then here's the, here's the series number, X series, NVX. And then here's the specs for it right here. So here's the GMT900 factory A-pillar, and what I'm trying to do is fit a 1-inch flush mount JL tweeter in the A-pillar. So what I did is I stenciled and cut out a 1-inch diameter hole. I trimmed the inside of the Bose cover plate, and by doing that I can slide in the tweeter and then just pop the cover on like that, and then you have basically a flush mount factory looking 1-inch JL tweeter underneath the factory Bose mesh grill. When I route my power cable, I'm going to mount a fuse on this bar or maybe on this wire loom, and I'm going to route the cable into the truck kind of underneath this AC canister. And if you take a look at the firewall, there's a nice little flat spot near this canister. And it's easier, of course, when you take the wheel liner out. So coming to the passenger footwell, what I did is I kind of looked into the footwell, found where it kind of gets flat, did an X cut with the box knife, drilled a pilot hole, and then I cut the hole for the grommet, and then I put a grommet in there. So then I'm gonna run my power cable from there through this bracket here, which is underneath this carpet, to where my amplifier is going to sit right there. And here's the grommets I'm running from Summit grommet kit. What's nice about this kit, if I can open it, is has a bunch of different sizes, but it also tells you what size hole you need to pre-drill to fit the grommet. So I ended up using this last one right there, and there's the specs on the grommet I use for my 0 gauge speaker wire.
Here we have an audio system. We're putting in an 08 GMT900 extended cab. Here's our kind of rough-in amp rack. We kind of just built this for the time being so we can get everything laid out. We have a recoil distribution block. You see the power coming in, fuses there, grounds all routed to it as well. Down for sound, JP234 amplifier. We wired the tweeters into their own channel, and then we bridged, or we just went to 2 ohm for the left side and right side for the speakers. We bridged the CT sound amp for the subwoofer, and we're running 10 gauge to that. Here's how we routed some of our cables. So our RCAs, the bass knob and the remote turn on, they run through the carpet, and we had them run up the center console. Power and ground, we kind of loomed those together, and the ground we just stuck on there, cleared the paint off the body, spliced that line on there. And the power, these trucks have a great channel already built in at this 1 gauge. We ran it all the way through, and what we did, good spot in the bulkhead, you could sort of see it. Drilled through it, ran a grommet, And then yeah, this other channel here houses the right front speakers, the tweeter, and the send down audio, 6.5.
So this is how we routed our power cable. So we went from the firewall, grommet out the firewall, removed the wheel liner, and then we drilled to the bottom of the battery tray, another grommet. And then when we come up here, the way this fuse block is set up is we have to slide the entire fuse out because it's watertight with O-rings. It's actually for like a boat. So then we left us some slack so we can fish out this end of the fuse. And then we have it tied into this existing fuse block from factory.